Hi there, beautiful souls watching. Welcome and thank you. I'm Gabrielle, retired medium in Germany, and I like to share some of my otherworldly experiences and insights. So, this is about childhood traits significant for the soul path. Well, while you are in an experience like growing up as a kid and going through your teen and twin years, most often you don't understand what's really happening and what's showing up. And the funny thing for me, and also very interesting thing, is that now that I'm a lot older and without doing anything, things just pop up in my consciousness field like childhood memories, and now suddenly the dots connect by itself and I understand and things start to make sense. So when I was young, we had no television in the beginning, so after I learned how to read and manage the alphabet, I was into reading. I was more or less eating books like nothing. I went to the library and got a lot of books. And now, looking back at that, I see three very important or significant traits that already showed up in my childhood and the interest I had then, that now really makes sense because they're kind of, they are the main three traits that I'm living now and interested in now and also working with right now. So, in the beginning, when we had no television, I was born 1956, yes, I'm that old. Uh, we were just in the evening sitting in the living room and we were playing games like Monopoly, but I was still too young and I wasn't allowed to play with that. But we had some other games to play and also like kind of making these shadows with gestures you make with your hands on the wall, like making a butterfly and things like that. And we had a lot of fun and there was interaction between us. And then around the 70s, beginning of the 70s, we we got a television. And then suddenly the whole family, 7 persons, my parents and my 4 siblings and me, we were sitting in the living room just looking in this one corner where the device stood, the television set, and there was no more interaction. We were just observing and watching whatever came up. And in the beginning, the program of the TV was kind of poor. We got some of the old westerns with John Wayne and fighting with Native Americans and stuff like that. And when there were always this pistol shooting or cannon shooting or whatever in the films, suddenly my father kind of sprung up, or when he wasn't in there, he came into the living room and he was yelling at us switch that off, I can't hear that stuff. And we never understood why he got so angry with these films. Now I do understand, because that was via the noise only, bringing him back directly into his traumatizing war experiences when he was as a soldier in Russia, and he came back just shell-shocked. And at that time, nobody cared about that. Today, just a bus has to fall to the side, and there are psychologists that care for the people from the bus. But these heavily war traumatized people, they were just kind of put back into life and now go on, have a family, have children. And nobody cared for their psychic health. So that was the one thing, but I was still into reading. And it was the time when the first cartoons came up, and I sneaked into my brother's rooms because they had the first cartoons, which were funny things. They had this strange format. They were more long, like a DIN H5 envelope, or even a bit longer. And they were about all kinds of medieval stuff, mostly about knighthood, like Prince Ironheart or Richard Lionheart and things like that. And I loved that stuff. And I also loved the pirate films and the Prince Ironheart and Lionheart films, the first movies in the TV. So that was the one trait about knighthood. And now it makes a lot of sense to me that I was with a Rosicrucian group studying for over 20 years, gnostic and hermetic knowledge, and also religions all over the world, not only Christian themes. And this theme about the knights always stayed with me. I was interested in Knights Templar later on, and as the lineage of the Rosicrucians I was with was kind of a long historical line going back to the Cathars in southern France, and the Bogomiles and the Zoroastrians and the Manichaeans, until to the community of the Essenes, in which Yeshua incarnated and was born into. And I know that when the Cathars were persecuted by the Roman Church, they had their last retreat in France. There were some Knights Templars with them, helping them, trying to defend them against the armies of the church coming to destroy them. So now it makes sense why I loved these stories and cartoons in my childhood. And they are a big part of, the knowledge I'm dealing now with. So in childhood already things show up that are significant and say a lot about your soul path. Maybe you should have a different look now about some of your childhood traits. And another childhood trait was that I was kind of eating all the books. There was a lot of this fairy tale and legend books, like the fairy tales from the brothers Grimm I was reading. And also one thing about this more Nordic saga about Beowulf, which always kind of stayed with me through all the years, and that's dealing with the supernatural. So with beings from beyond the veil or from other dimensions, like a lot of the elemental beings, and also some kind of monsters like Beowulf, who was fighting against this monster Grendel and his mother. And so, training as a medium, I'm dealing with the supernatural. And that's another trait from my childhood that makes up a lot of my life today. And I really like that because it's interesting and it's opening up the horizon, and it already started to show up when I was a kid. And the third trait that also is still in my life now in a bit of a different form was the first kind of sci-fi novels coming out, printed. And it was, I think, especially a German thing. I don't know whether you ever heard of Perry Rhodan, which was one of the first sci-fi stories that came up in Germany, especially in Germany, and was the story about some humans going with a rocket to the moon. This is an old idea. And there they encountered other beings and whatever came out of that, and they kind of co-worked together and tried to bring some of the knowledge and technology back to Earth, but they were as well fought by other entities that weren't, so friendly. And I remember, and I can't forget my disappointment, because these were mostly just text stories, so written letters, and only very rarely a few black and white illustrations. And I was so disappointed when I saw the first depiction of another being from another world, another star, or whatever. In the Perry Rhodan stories, it was the Haluthians. And the way they were depicted was just a different composition of everything known here on Earth. And I kind of expected something that would blow my mind. Extraterrestrials should look different. And it was these Haluthians. They had kind of the head of a frog, more or less. That's the way they were depicted. I think they had more than two eyes, but we know eyes, we know heads. They had nearly no head, no neck. And I think they had 4 arms instead of 2, and 2 legs. And they looked kind of clumsy and a bit reptilian. The scale was, the skin was a little bit scaly looking in the black and white depiction. And now it makes so much sense to me coming across this very old saying, there is nothing new under the sun. So that was kind of from the imagination of the illustrators. They just took ingredients from everything that's known on Earth within a creature, like eyes and a mouth and a head and arms and legs, but it wasn't really new. I had expected something different, something I cannot imagine, and something I did not already know or see in other creatures. Well, and that's the kind of sci-fi or ET trait that's still working within me today, because without going after it, I suddenly, after my mediumship trainment, had contact with kind of ETs. The Pleijadians showed up, and I resonate very much with the Taygetans and the Urmah, the big feline beings like tiger and lion beings. And so that's it, what I want to share today. And maybe you look back at your childhood traits and find out that some are like the red thread going through your life, showing you what is of your interest or what is meant for you to be dealt with on your soul path. And you should also listen to small children and maybe your own kids, what they are showing and what they are talking about. Because as a child, you're not yet that spoiled by society and all the beliefs and education that's put into you and fill up your head and lead you into a certain direction. Some of the traits that show up, that kids talk about or paint or whatever, they are dealing with that. They have a very deep meaning because they are kind of the red thread that's belonging to your soul path and your soul journey. So, I hope you're inspired to delve into some of your childhood memories and suddenly find, now that you're older, that the dots connect by themselves, just like a torn necklace of pearls is coming back together again, and now everything makes sense. So, thank you for watching and listening and spending some time with me. Blessings, love, and light to you on your soul path, dear beautiful souls. Bye.